All right, recording has started. Oh. I'm not sure where okay, we're ready.
Okay, so sorry, that's me. Okay, the meeting has been called to order at 5:33 p.m. Debbie, if you could do roll call, please.
Okay, Chair Emma Wood,
Present.
Vice Chair Jenna Biondolillo.
Present.
Laura Herrera is not present. Chris Lambert is not present. Cody Phelps.
Present.
And we have Councilmember Tina Prane.
Present.
And Inglewood School Liaison Dwayne Tucker.
Present.
Excused, we have Kathleen Hammer, and Catherine Sturdivant has resigned from the commission. We do not have a quorum present, but we are still going to do a presentation and that, but no formal discussion or action will be taken.
Does our quorum, is it adjusted with a resignation or was it still 4?
There's been discussion within it can and can't, but right now, because Catherine Sturdivant has not been formally presented before council, she's still part of the board.
Will that happen on Monday?
I'm not sure when it will go through on this board appointment process,
Okay,
so it will get filled
got
as
it.
long as we have enough candidates.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we cannot approve the minutes.
Right.
So,
Well, and for public comment. Are we allowed
We
to?
can still do public comment. It's recorded. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can move to that then if anybody present tonight would like to say anything.
I'd like to say congratulations to Parks and Rec Commission, Parks and Rec Department, and the City of Inglewood and its citizens for passing the bond. And that I'm sure it will happen just like the last one did 20 years ago, very smoothly, and waiting on equipment, that sort of thing. And I'm just real excited about it.
Thank you for your comment.
I would just second that. I'm really excited. All my neighbors are really excited. And
Heck of people out there.
yeah, and I mean, I can't wait. I feel like you guys are going to do an incredible job, and I love your passion, and I'm just really excited to watch it all unfold. It's my first bond that I have lived here for, so.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Okay. Thank you. A few more trickling in here.
Hello, welcome.
Hello, gentlemen. We are in public comment section right now. If there is anything you wanted to share tonight.
Well, we thought we'd get you on video, but we couldn't, so we hooked up and came over.
Oh, got it. Okay.
The only thing I wanted to say from the committee to get the bond passed is to thank Rick and Jim profusely, because I think without their efforts, we wouldn't have had the materials to attract the attention that we did. And then the reason it worked is that a bunch of citizens got together and pulled their weight and got us over the hump. And I can't express my appreciation. I felt like I was just sitting back and watching it happen and making sure that the path was clear, basically. So, and Kristen and Jacob and all of you guys, it's just amazing, and I'm thankful that it passed.
And Emma.
And Emma, yes. Yes, it's just the citizens that got together and made sure that it got the attention it deserved. So that's what I came to say.
Any other pieces of public comment tonight? Okay. Well, we can move on to the presentation tonight of the bond, and I'll give the floor to you, Christina.
Yeah, so we'll cover a couple things in new business first. The Rotolo public meeting, so one, thank you for all being here. This is really a unique opportunity for a Parks and Recreation Commission to have bond oversight. You are going to be the oversight committee, the external one for the bond projects, as well as we'll have a significant internal committee as well with all the departments, and we have budget advisory committee. There's a lot of people looking at this as we move forward. This is a very significant project with $41.5 million being spent over the next 3 years. So it's gonna be a heavy lift for the department, but we're excited to do it for our residents. So we have had 3 parks in design, kind of anticipating the bond may pass. If it didn't pass, we're gonna become grant projects that we go after. So Emerson Park, we've had 2 outreach opportunities, public meetings with them. We're going into more of a final design where we'll have some opportunity for people to make comments still on that design. But Rotolo Park's our next one. Unfortunately, the first public meeting was rained out. We had a massive storm come in over the summer and we weren't able to host that public meeting. We did do an online survey to get some more data from our residents and neighbors around Rotolo Park to see what they wanted. So this is the public meeting that's happening next Thursday night, 5:30 to 7 p.m. We encourage everyone to attend, especially commission members, if you're able to come, listen to the public comments, and provide feedback as well if that's a part that's near and dear to your heart. We will have a presentation from our consultants who are working with the design. And then Public Works will also be at the meeting because that is a massive stormwater project that's going on in that park. We know it's been a little contentious. Some trees had to be removed for that project. Our goal with the park is to beautify it after that project's finished with these improvements. And so next Thursday, community room on the 2nd floor, 5:30 to 7 p.m. If you're able to make it, come on by for that. The second item on there will postpone until we have quorum to discuss the surveys. I will just mention, typically the way this works with park design or facility design, the consultants create those surveys based off of their knowledge of what they need to know for the design projects to go forward. So what are they looking for based off of the initial data we provide of, we need a new irrigation system in a park, or we don't have a playground there, we'd like to add one, or whatever it may be. And so they take that initial data that staff shares and that we've received from other public comment or from calls from residents or emails, and then they create that survey to get more data so they can start the design process. So we can cover that at the next commission meeting when we have quorum to decide how this commission would like to have a survey oversight or just be part of that process. And then I'll cover one more thing. This is exciting. So speaking of the stormwater project that's going on at Rotolo, we are getting a new park in our system as part of that project. It's a large detention basin. And we haven't decided the use for that park yet. Some proposals from residents have been a new dog park. It's near Jason Park. We know that's a heavily used dog off-leash area. And so that was one proposal. The other option might be like a sports field that could be utilized for kids, and that'd be dedicated just to a sports field. But the next step we have to look at doing is naming this park. Typically with naming a park, a facility, a lot of times our community members will say, I want to rename this park after a former mayor that we loved or whatever, and they put together a package and it comes before the Parks and Rec Commission. The commission would review that, and then it would go to council as a proposal of that park name. Well, this one's a little different because it's a brand new park. And so if you're familiar with our snowplows, we did a snowplow naming, I believe that was last year. There's a lot of different methodologies of how we can go about getting names for a new park. One option may be doing like a social media call out or a form somebody has to fill out if they have an idea for the name, they want to name this park, and then reasons why. And so that could be an option, and they would come back to the commission, and the commission would review the names and then put forth, council may say, give us 3 to 5 names, and then council would make the final decision of what the new park name would be. So we're not quite ready for that yet. I know our city manager during his council one-on-ones is going to talk to our council members about how would you like to proceed with this. and then we'll go from there. So the naming policy was sent out to the commission. It's in the packet too, I believe. So you can review that and just see what that process looks like. And then we'll bring that hopefully in a future meeting. And I believe the park is planning to open in the spring. Have you heard April, May? Maybe. There's been some things happening. So anyways, it will be coming forth next year to you all. And then the next piece on the agenda is the bond. So like I said, this is a really awesome opportunity for our Parks and Recreation Commission to be part of this process. This is ultimately setting our city up hopefully for the next 20 plus years of improvements that will benefit our community. And like I said, we have an external oversight committee, which is the Parks and Rec Commission, an internal, which includes just about every department we have. And then we have like the Budget Advisory Committee and others that will be watching what we're doing. We are planning on hiring a project manager. I don't have all the details for what that's going to look like yet. It might be an internal employee that we contract for a few years to help with the internal project management. It could be a firm that we hire to do all of that. We are planning on doing a lot of community engagement with this process. So ultimately, the webpage, which will launch in 2025, we'll be setting that up over the winter months here, getting that ready to go to show a project tracker, where each project is at, links to each project. We are planning on using the Inglewood Engage page to highlight each park, each facility that we will be renovating, and talking about the project overview, putting images on there, proposed improvements, a link to whatever the survey would be for that park or facility. Also comments section once we have some designs up there so people can say, I like this, I don't like that, I love this in there. We are limited with the budgets, obviously, we can't go too big, but within those constraints. And then also, we always will post the survey results so community members can see where the survey came in at, what people liked, what they didn't, and staff contact information and just overall project status. So if you follow our social media on Instagram, on Facebook, our communications team is excellent in keeping our community up to date. And they've done a good job throughout the whole bond project prior to even going to the ballot of just announcing what the projects were. And so we will be using social media pretty heavily to give status updates, to announce what public meetings are coming up, and all of that. So the magazine's another one, the Citizen magazine, you should get that quarterly in your mail. And that will have articles, project updates as the years go by of what we're all doing. Also, one outlet we've used regularly to get feedback on projects is door hangers. So we've seen challenges, I saw this with our off-leash challenges, where we're trying to get feedback from our community, and it ended up being like Denver and beyond that provided feedback, which impacts our residents and the decisions that are made. And so we've moved to more door hangers. So like if you're a neighbor around Rotolo Park or Emerson, we did this with Baker Park. We did door hangers saying, hey, we have a public meeting coming up. Here's a link if you want to attend online at the time, or it'll be at this location. And so we'll utilize those so we get specific feedback for those parks that affect those immediate residents. Typically it's about a mile around on that park or that facility. For the facility projects like Pirates Cove or the Inglewood Recreation Center, we will have a larger reach because we have databases of people that frequent the locations, and we'll reach out to those frequent users of those to get feedback on what they want to see at those facilities. So also event attendance is going to be huge. We did this through neighborhood nights. We had staff at every neighborhood night talking about the projects or answering questions. This may be where the commission and the citizens group that you guys formed, if you're interested in helping, share what's happening in the parks and facilities. We'd love to have you at some of those events. And like we talked about, a survey, each project will have a survey designed by the consultant team to receive pertinent information and feedback on that exact project. So that's the current plan we have today. It's gonna probably grow quite a bit as I get the communications team involved. They have a whole communications plan they are working on currently. We do go to council in December for the bond. So they'll approve at that time. It passed. So we'll go then. Bond sales will happen next year. I don't have dates or anything like that. That's our bond council will help process that. And so it's running. The bond is not certified until the 27th, but what Arapahoe County has said is it's passed. Just some stats so you all know where this bond fell. It did look like it was 50-50, right? That's historically what we've seen with past bonds. In 1983, to build a recreation center, the bond passed by 8 votes. In 2001, passed with over 500 some votes. It was about 50-50 again, and then this one's right around 300. So it's always been close with this community. But as staff, I have staff here that have been with the city of Inglewood for 20, 30 years, and they know the need of the community. I mean, Bob used to be on our parks team and knows the challenges of our park system and aging infrastructure and all of that. And so this is a wonderful opportunity, and we thank our residents, and we will find ways to give back to our residents. It's something we'll have a conversation with our council members about how we can also pay it forward, not only with the improvements, but access to our facilities for our residents that would be equitable and get them involved and excited for what we have coming up. So on this too, we'll have this as part of the agenda. We have all the bond projects and the prices for each of the projects listed as well to remind you all where the 41.5 million is going. And this is, again, our number one goal is transparency, and we want to build confidence in our residents and obviously provide something that they can use for hopefully their lifetime and beyond with their families and socialize and all that great stuff. So again, thank you all for the support, and we're very excited for what's coming next for this community. Any questions? That was a lot of info.
Is there, I don't even know if it's possible just because of timing, but like, is there a possibility for like a liaison between parks directly on that internal committee or Parks and Rec Commission directly on that committee, just for expediency, not because we don't trust you guys or
Yeah,
what
sure.
we're saying, but just that expediency of having that voice right there in that committee as well? I don't even know what that would look like, but is that a possibility?
I think anything's a possibility. I can talk to the city manager about that opportunity and see. The internal committee, the commitment's going to be a lot more aggressive with weekly meetings, if not more frequently, especially as we kick things off. So it may be a commitment challenge, but not opposed to it. And that'd be a good liaison position to come back. But yeah, it's all about availability and allowing, if anybody has time to do that and attend those meetings. But our goal is to come back to each of these meetings monthly and share what's going on, and obviously keep you all in the loop so you can provide the feedback that's necessary. But yeah, Cody, I'll check on that.
Will the internal meetings be available to the public to attend or watch?
Typically, no.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's not typical to have the internal ones
Okay.
public. Yeah.
This could be like internal staff meetings during
Yeah.
regular business
Like
hours,
project
right?
managers, so like Public Works, I'll have multiple staff that'll be on the team from, utilities to our community development team with inspectors, kind of keeping the projects moving along. So that's more boots on the grounds. Our finance director is going to be heavily involved, obviously, with the money side. And I don't want it all to fall on our staff because this is a heavy lift, and a lot of departments will be extremely involved in helping us get this all completed.
I would think this would be the venue for public to come show up and track what's going on with the projects. And I'm assuming we'll have regular updates from
Yes.
internal to this group. So, we have citizens that want to regularly show up and instead of going to the website pages or whatever, then I think encouraging them to come here, listen to our meetings, make public comment if needed, et cetera.
Yeah, excellent.
I really like the idea that Cody brought up.
Yeah, I'll
Given
talk
the
to
fact
Sean.
that we are, so split on our votes around big measures like this, I just think that has a lot of potential to enhance our efforts around transparency. And we've got, if there's anyone that's able to step up and be able to do as often as those meetings are, just to show that we're having residents attend those internal meetings and
Yeah.
got, eyes and ears in the room so that the
Definitely.
city's
Yeah,
doing
not
what they
opposed to that
promised
at
they
all.
would do. I think that's a great idea.
I do want to note for the recording that we are at quorum at 5:51 p.m.
Okay.
And we can now discuss formal business. Continuing on this, Christine, if I may. So, knowing that each project is unique and has, different levels of engagement required, I'm looking at the public meetings and the survey, that's minimum. So
Minimum, yeah.
residents can expect that if it's a larger project, there could be more than that.
It's possible, yeah. I mean, the good example we have is like Emerson Park. We've had 2 public meetings, we've done a survey, and we're gonna do, not final, but close to, but now we need more comment back. That park is very split. Some residents want us to do nothing to that park, and others want us to do more to that park. And so that's when we're gonna have an additional option for comments, so our designers can get in there and really ensure we're gonna make those neighbors happy, and something that they'll like in the final design. So it'll kind of depend on each park, and facility, just kind of how it goes. But that's our minimum plan is 2 meetings, public meetings, beginning, and then kind of midway through, and a survey that'll probably happen in the middle of those 2.
Okay. And when will a rough timeline be available to share for the kickoff of the projects in the order that you guys are thinking about?
I'm thinking probably February timeframe. That might be a little aggressive. It's gonna depend on the bond sales, and everything, and there's a lot of moving parts. Our procurement team is gonna be very busy with contracts, and we actually did some pre-work. We have 4 different design firms that 3 are already working on the projects, Emerson, Cushing, and Rotolo. And then we have a 4th one that's a larger firm that may take projects on like Bellevue Park because they have a larger engineering team, and we're gonna need that. So there's gonna be a lot of moving parts, and with the holidays, it may be delayed slightly, but ultimately our goal is to hit the ground running as soon as we know we have the funds, so.
Yeah.
Where did you say the Rotolo would be used?
It's gonna be on the 2nd floor in the community room Thursday.
And then with the naming of the new park, is the historic board usually involved in the naming?
That's a good idea. I mean, they could be involved, yeah, and I think we'll reach out to them as well, because of their history and knowledge of the city. So they may, I kind of am leaning like it might make sense to do like an online, submit your ideas for the name and the why. And so they could be heavily involved in that too. And it might be something we invite them to a commission meeting when it comes down to making decisions on that.
Is there any official business that you want to discuss with the renaming, or just more an FYI?
It's more of an FYI now.
Yeah.
Again, I've asked the city manager to talk to our council members individually just to see what they'd be comfortable with, because this is a little unique. It's not somebody asking to name a park something. It's like, it's a blank slate right now.
Sure.
So how do we want to do this? It's been a while since we've named something.
Any other questions on the bond or?
Can I speak? I know I'm not on the committee, but I just wanted to give some feedback on some of the cold calling that was done and the type of feedback from some of the citizens.
Can we hold that for the end of the meeting? Do you mind?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can hold it to the very end. Just make sure we get through everything.
Sure.
There's a couple more items. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the commission survey discussion. If you don't mind kicking us off, I think last time there was discussion of whether we should be reviewing as a commission every survey that the staff sends out.
And that's up to the commission. If that's something you all want to do, we can definitely, it probably wouldn't happen during these meetings. We'd send it out via email, just from a timeliness standpoint, because we want to keep projects moving. And so that could be an opportunity for the commission to review each survey and provide feedback prior to it going public. So that's a decision you all can talk about if that's something we want to move forward with or not.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I would lean more on the inform versus business side because it's a little bit more flexible for us. Even if we go email or something like that with business, and it can become an open meeting and things like that. Whereas if it's hey, this is the survey we're sending out, look it over, give us feedback. That's more of just a single person with staff, and it still gives an opportunity to provide more feedback while not holding up the process either.
Sure. I think what I heard at the last commission meeting was the desire for an open comments text box at the end of every single survey. So I think that would be important to include across the board. I agree with you. I don't think it's the best interest of our time as a commission, whether here together, quorum, or outside of these to be weighing in, to reviewing every single one. I'm not really in favor of even being informed on every single one. I do trust the staff to continue to facilitate the process with the addition of the text box at the end for comments.
I would say also, I mean, a survey is just one part of public engagement, so I don't want to like too heavily, I guess, why would we review a survey if we're not reviewing the entire like public engagement plan? So it seems, I don't want to like put too much weight on a survey when sometimes you get better feedback in person. So I don't know if there's a need for us to consider like looking at a general outline of public engagement, but I don't know.
Do you have any feedback on the surveys at this time? No. I'm in favor of continuing to keep this with staff. It was not a consensus last commission meeting that this was an ongoing issue, not the lack of transparency with surveys. So I'd recommend continuing keeping it with you all and the survey vendor and continuing to give us updates as results come in. Is it alignment? Okay. Okay, we can leave it there. I don't know if we need a motion necessarily for that one.
Do you want a motion for it?
Let's do it, okay. Is there a motion to continue keeping survey management and oversight with staff and not having the commission meeting weigh in?
Can we do a motion without a quorum present?
We have
a
quorum.
quorum.
What's that?
We have quorum now.
Oh, we have.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Do we want to have the stipulation if there's an open comment section at the end?
Yes. Okay, I'll do that again. Is there a motion to have survey management and oversight stay with Parks and Rec with the caveat that moving forward, all surveys will have a additional comments text box available in all?
Moved.
And is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Okay. So moved. Thank you all. We can move on to old business here. The Bates Logan Park update, Adrian.
Okay, we're gonna go back to that.
While we're doing this, do you want to do the minutes?
Oh, sure. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as written for October 10th? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So Tina, yeah. Sorry.
Can I have another second here?
Or a motion.
Okay,
Now we need a second.
And then who seconded?
I said first.
Okay.
Thank you. Our mighty crew tonight. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Minutes are approved for October 10th.
All right, this Ryan's going to have issues with. Okay. I'll open this up.
So I'll kind of give an update while Debbie's bringing up the pictures. So I mainly wanted to show you guys the cool pictures of the stuff that's going on at Bates Logan. So Bates Logan, the playground is,
Let's see if I can do the photos at
Yes.
least.
the playground is going in. We're probably 80% complete with the playground equipment that has gone in. Another piece of that is council did approve the contract for phase 3. So phase 3 is going to be going on the same time phase 2 is. So in doing that, we're hoping to open the whole park early summer of '25. So the playground is currently getting installed now. The basketball court is scheduled for December 2nd. So they'll move to the basketball court after that.
Initially, we had planned to open the playgrounds as soon as it was installed, but in talking with our construction team, if we just keep rolling with the phases and finish phase 3, we'll have it open for the summer. If we waited and opened the playground, we'd be delayed and it wouldn't open until later summer, early fall. So as much as we all want to play on this new playground, we're gonna have to wait until the summer.
Another piece that is, not hold us up, but keep us from opening the playground is temperatures for the port in place. We have to have certain temperatures for it to be successful. So we need to wait for those temperatures so that we don't rush it and end up with a bad product. So this is the top playground. This is the 2 to 5.
I love the shade. That's so important.
Yes, so we did. So this is the cool one. So you guys, people who know Bates, that's the hill.
Corporate sales.
Yes, so we got the slide going down the hill. We have a better picture we can show in a second, but that's like a rope climbing thing on the far left that you can pull yourself up. And then the middle section, we have a better picture that's also like a rope thing that you can climb up to the second one. So this one is pretty cool that we were able to use the hill as part of the playground. We had to put the curve in the slide because to slow kids down.
Yeah, it's a long slide.
Yeah, it was originally a straight shot, and the design team, or the manufacturer said that, we can't do that. So we had to put a curve in the slide.
We did discover the construction team when they were digging for the new pathways and places for the playground equipment. It used to be an old farm site, and they were pulling up old pieces of farm equipment and old license plates and other things. So it's kind of a historical dig out there.
Wow.
Nothing of any value, but
No
it
gold.
was just kind of fun to see.
Yeah. So this is just another picture of that kind of ladder up that was in the middle using that hill slide. So we'll have 3 pieces of equipment that use the hillside.
I'm imagining the park right now is like fenced off or inaccessible. Okay.
Yes.
See the fences.
Oh, okay, I see, yeah.
So this piece we're very excited about. This is an accessible piece. The port and play will come right up to it. So if we have users that are in a wheelchair, they can wheel right into that and play with the other kids on the merry-go-round. So that's why that section there, it doesn't have any seating on that section. So that spot is for a user in a wheelchair. Me and Christina tried one of these and we spun each other around pretty fast and it was pretty awesome. So this is another accessible piece. Well, anybody can use it, but this will have port and play up to it. This is supposed to give kids, it's rollers. So this gives people the sensation of sliding that can't go up to the slide or are afraid of heights or anything like that. So you lay in this and you pull yourself through and it has rollers and it gives you the sensation that you're sliding down.
This piece was designed by Dr. Temple Grannon too, and she works closely with this design company, or the playground company we're utilizing for kids with autism, and she's a pretty awesome woman, and so we were excited to get some of these pieces that she personally had worked on to address kids with autism and other disabilities. So we're excited, very excited for this playground.
The playground is going to have a ton of different sensory things and different textures and things to give different experiences. So the whole thing is going to be pretty cool. So this is a wheelchair accessible swing. So it'll have a port and play right up to it. You can wheel a chair into it, and one of the sides you can have your chair, and the other side could be someone sitting, so we can all swing and play together. So this is another one that.
Are there any playgrounds with these amenities in Colorado?
I'm not sure. This one is very unique. I've never seen another one like this. I know the other 2 before we've seen at Clement. There's a few playgrounds around, but this one, I'm not 100%. Go ahead.
This is a newer piece, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I allowed to speak?
I actually don't know. I don't think so. So sorry.
Sorry.
We can save your comments to the end, John.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So this is also a very unique piece to not only Inglewood, but to the region.
Another, attraction for other neighborhoods and whatnot. It's really cool.
That's it? Oh, okay.
We're all waiting on
Yeah,
the edge of our
that's all the-
seats.
So if you know, you can't access it, but you can see it. So if you have a chance to go by Base Logan, it's really cool to start seeing this stuff going. So like I said, this will be done. They say the infrastructure will be done in the next couple weeks. Then we'll move to the basketball court. Then we're hoping to start working on phase 3 because it's kind of in the same area. I think American Ramp Company for phase 3 is scheduled for the spring. So that's when we'll start seeing the bicycle skills course and stuff go in behind the basketball court. The bocce ball will go towards the parking lot, and that may be sooner than the bike piece of it, and the irrigation system will be during the winter. So that stuff has been ordered. It's 6 to 8 weeks out, so that'll probably be January or February. We'll start seeing the irrigation system going. So this, with part of phase 3, is a complete new irrigation system. So when this park is done, it'll be completely new, above and below ground. So real excited about this park.
This will be our second complete renovated park. Baker's our other one where it's all brand new irrigation, fully renovated park. This will be the second one, and then the bond will help push us through on these others.
Does that include the soccer field too?
Yep, the entire park will have.
And that drain by Bates there, that needs to be leveled out or,
So that's stormwater, and they're working on that.
yeah.
So,
Great.
and this is all funded through Rotolo County Open Space grants, which we've been, knock on wood, very successful in obtaining, and Rotolo County Open Space Fund. Any questions on Bates?
Not so much a question, just a comment. Like, I just want to point out, I'm really proud that Inglewood is not only thinking about adding accessible playground equipment, but actually doing it. Parks Department that I worked for a decade ago, staff wanted it, it was not for a lack of need or want. It was a lack of funds at the time. And once we passed the bond in that city, we were able to actually upgrade park equipment. And so it's great to see that this is a significant piece within our new playgrounds that we're putting in. I think it's beneficial for all kids, and the progress we've made in accessible equipment where it doesn't look like this weird extra piece of equipment that's designed for somebody in a wheelchair or just paying attention to all accessibility needs. It's really fun to see this stuff coming, and actually getting done.
Okay, well, we can move on to staff's choice, where we're discussing the December meeting.
Yes. So we have the December meeting on, I believe it was on the 14th. So up to you all, I think, it's up to you if you want to meet. So that's a discussion you guys can have, and it's close to the holidays, but it's still far away too, so.
Yeah.
Normally, or the last couple of years, we've canceled it, I think, right? But how does it impact like the bond stuff? Does that slow you all down at all? I know it's like hot and heavy
Right.
for the next like 6 months. So like, is that impactful to staff if we cancel that?
The December meeting shouldn't have much of an impact, because really it's more paperwork, council approving, moving forward with the bond sale and all of that. And during that time, we'll be working with procurement and stuff, so we probably won't have a ton of updates related to the bond as we're doing the back end paperwork piece of it, mostly through December and January. Coming back in January, we'll definitely have some more updates for you all, so.
I feel comfortable canceling it based on precedent from years past and knowing that there's not meaningful discussion yet on the bond. Any objections? Against Logan. Okay, anything from commission's
Do
choice?
we want to do the other one, Christine?
Yeah, you want to?
Sure.
Oh,
Sorry.
two more? I apologize.
Actually, we're gonna show you, it comes up, Emerson Park is a great example of kind of the public input process. So Adrian's put a few slides together to show us how we do it, just for knowledge for you all too. And where we're at Emerson Park.
So, yeah, so this will kind of give everybody an update of where Cushing, Emerson, and Rotolo are and the process that we've taken to get here. So this is the process that we're in. I'll invite Brad and Christina to jump in at any time. So the consultant will work with staff to establish high-level park needs. So this is from the master plan of 2023. So this is where we're getting our initial concepts, and that's what we're starting with. We had our initial public meeting. Just as examples, Emerson was Neighborhood Nights, was when we first showed this to the public. Rotolo was also Neighborhood Nights that got canceled, and then we had a survey. So, and Cushing was Neighborhood Nights. So that's how we gave the first initial concepts, presented them to the public. So after that, most of the design teams were at Neighborhood Nights with us, so they were asking questions, getting feedback from the public as to what they would like to see in their park. Then the consultants designed a survey, and that's what we put on Inglewood Engaged, and that was for their use to get more feedback from the citizens. So the consultant is designing the survey. So we will make sure there's a comment box going forward. So they take that initial feedback they get from the community, and then they come up with conceptual from that. So that is where this is the picture at the bottom is kind of to show you Emerson as an example. So we started with the master plan conceptual. You can see there was a playground across the street. There was a shelter on the south side. There was paths. When we went to the neighborhood, nobody wanted that. So we took that, the design team took that, listened to the feedback from the neighborhood, and this is the next design that they came up with. One of the things they wanted was open space, so we left the open space. And like Christina said, it was kind of 50-50 on a lot of the things. So there's small play features and a small shade structure. This is not even the final design. So from this design, this is what we took. You could probably go to the next one. So this is what we presented to the Emerson neighborhood for our public meeting. So this was the design that was in that picture before. So this is what the design team used to build off of to design their original design. So we presented this to the Emerson neighborhood at the park for additional feedback.
I'm trying to hit. Does that help?
Go ahead and go to the next one then. You can zoom out a little bit. So this is what our design team came up with to get feedback. So everybody was given dots, and then you would put dots onto what you prefer. Each dot, I don't remember offhand, but each dot represented, like, if you were under 18, you got yellow. If you were under 5, you got green. If you walked here, you got red. You know, so we could kind of get an idea of who was giving us the feedback. Go ahead and go to the next one, then. This was another board that we showed at the Emerson meeting. So this was, what additional items would you like to see in the park? So we had these, and the same thing with the dots. This also did go on Inglewood Engaged after the meeting, and we were able to get additional feedback off of the survey on Inglewood Engage. This was what swing do you like? So we got a lot of feedback on, this helps. This helps us a ton, So we got this, and then we were able to narrow it down.
You can see the yellow dots on the snake swing. The kids really like those.
And we did put at this presentation, a budget. We have a budget for each of these parks, so it was helpful for people to see the prices on each of these, because things are very expensive.
Yeah, a piece of wood is $42,000. It's a play structure, it's more than a piece of wood, but I think it helps our community know. I've had challenges, people want a splash pad or a spray ground, and those are, $250,000 plus, and people think, oh, that's a lot of money. It's like, yeah, things aren't cheap, so we want to be transparent and say, this is what we can afford, so we'll be doing this with just about every project we have.
So this board we mentioned before, where there was a swing in one little section of the Emerson Park, and then the other was like a little play equipment. So we showed them these and got input on which of these they would like to see. Okay, this is Cushing, but let me finish on Emerson. So we met today. We took this feedback that we got, met with the design team, and they're gonna do another design with the feedback that we got. So, like Christina was saying earlier, Emerson, we're doing an additional community meeting to get even more feedback. So that design that we saw is definitely not the final design. So this is Cushing. Cushing isn't as far along as Emerson, so I don't have as cool, pretty pictures on this one, but this is the 70% construction drawings. So that's Inca going through. At Cushing, we're gonna do a dog park and replace the playground. So on the native side of Cushing, more towards Santa Fe, is where the dog park will be. That's in the upper left. And then the right is the playground. It's gonna stay in the same location. We ended up finding out that saved us quite a bit of money, not to move it. The playground retaining wall is in good shape, so we're gonna use it. We also wanted to keep the big trees. If you've been to Cushing, those are huge value to us and provide tremendous shade to that playground. So we wanted to keep those trees.
And then there's also safety with the location of the pond,
Yes.
as far as where the playground is too, so that was a big factor that we had.
This is just a closer up view of the playground, and this one, we have not even had our first community meeting, so we haven't had any feedback on this yet. This is just, well, we have, I'm sorry. This was from the neighborhood night feedback that we got. So we'll take these designs and have a Cushing neighborhood meeting to refine these even further.
Will these be part of the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll upload this also
Okay.
onto the website.
Where are the community meetings held?
If possible, we'd like to hold them at the park. So Emerson, we held it at the park. Rotolo is gonna be here. Due to weather, it's getting colder.
Cushing will probably have to be here just because like Emerson, it got dark really fast.
Yes,
It
we're out
got
there
cold
dark.
really fast. So for the winter months, we'll keep them probably at the Civic Center. But yeah, ultimately, we like to be standing in the park so you can visualize what it will become through some of these design concepts.
Can I ask a question?
Not quite. We're gonna finish this and then we'll move it up. Yeah.
Are there virtual options for people to attend those community meetings as well, or is it only in person?
There is not a virtual option, but there is a QR code for a survey that they can give their feedback after the meeting. So the public meeting, after the public meeting, the survey will open on Inglewood Engage, and then at that time, it's open for a couple weeks. They can give feedback if they weren't able to attend the community meeting.
Is there usually Spanish translation available at?
We can make that happen. That's a good suggestion, yeah.
So these are the pieces that are picked for Cushing right now. So Some of the ideas were really cool and were custom, but they were above our budget. So these ones were selected, they were within our budget, but like I said, we haven't taken these. You guys are the first ones to see this. So we'll have a big play structure, swing, everybody loves swings. These two on the bottom are more geared towards teens. As you guys know, it's a hard group for us to reach. So those two bottom ones are more for the teenage group. This is a close-up on the dog park. So this is the cross from Inca. It'll be split into two sections. So we'll have a small dog area and a larger dog area. So you'll enter it through the gate and you can to either side. These are some of the fun pieces that'll be inside the dog park. Okay, so that was Cushing. So we have any questions on Cushing? And like I said, you guys are the first ones to see this. We haven't had our second neighborhood meeting yet.
I like the sort of teen attractive one, playground equipment, because there's a ton that skate right there. So it might bring them into the park a little bit more and activate that more than it has been by that demographic.
So this one was Rotolo. So this was the first concept from the master plan for Rotolo. This one we showed, we didn't get a chance to show it because it got rained out. But this one, we got feedback via the survey on Rotolo. We also got some guidance from council as far as native plantings go. So this one went from quite a bit of native plantings to maybe, what did they tell us, Brad? Less than 4%. It was like 3.5% of the total park will be native planting. So this was just some of the survey that the design team came out with that went on to England Engaged that we got feedback from and they used to design the first concept. This one was how the community felt on the drought tolerant plants. What kind they liked, what was Rotolo lacking. So this is the first, and you guys are the first ones seeing this too. This is the first concept that they came up with for Rotolo Park. So let me see. The top left, kind of in that, you can kind of see the boulders where the trees are at. That's where the restroom will be. So one of the big needs there at Rotolo is a restroom, a flushing restroom. So that's where that'll be. You know, this is a scheduled, programmed soccer, football, lacrosse field that we use. So to have a flushing restroom would be huge for our programs. Another thing that we wanted to do is connect the streets. Right now, there's no connection to Jason or Stanford at Rotolo. So this will have a ADA accessible path. You can kind of see it there. That'll go from Jason cul-de-sac over to Stanford. So we'll be able to connect Huron. We'll be able to connect the whole park to all the streets. This is what they're calling the Ramble, is what they're calling it. So it's kind of like a nature play area that kids can climb over logs and on rocks and stuff along the path up to the playground.
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. So that's our, and you can kind of see the restroom better there on the right is where the restroom will be.
And again, next Thursday, this park is going before the community, and so we encourage you to come out and provide your feedback as well and take a look at some more of their designs and what they're envisioning for this park.
Just one quick comment. I don't think that you can get any more feedback, and this shows how the feedback impacts the design, and I think that's huge, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to show where we started and the drastic difference to where we're at now, and these will change again. So, we are listening to the neighborhood and taking their feedback and designing to what the neighborhood wants.
And the sledding hill is getting how much taller?
Foot and a half,
Foot and a half.
foot and a half tall.
Any feedback for Adrian?
One of those of you who know what also is going on at Rotolo Park, one of the questions that is going to be at mini meeting is, do we want to do additional trees instead of some of these other plantings, since we are going to plant 15 new trees with the Public Works drainage project. So do we want to add additional trees with this one? Another one thing I forgot on this one, Deb, is you can kind of see on the bottom left there is some rock wall seating. So if you're here watching soccer, there's not really great places to sit. So these will be cut into the slope, and there'll be large boulders that you can sit on to watch soccer or football or whatever.
Which site is this?
Rotolo.
So the right is Aladdin.
Rotolo Park.
Rotolo?
Yep.
Okay, anything else? Thank you. So just a reminder, Rotolo Park Community Meeting next Thursday, the 21st, from 5:30 to 7 in the community room, here on the second floor. Okay. Anything else? Okay, well, we can move on to Commissioner's Choice. Is there anything the commission would like to bring up?
I can give a quick update from council.
Sure.
I'll keep it short. Lots of ongoing conversation around our new water bills. I'm sure you all have seen them by now and perhaps heard some of the snafus that have happened along the way. I believe that we are fast approaching a complete fix of all of the kinks in the system. The city did realize that about 1,000 residents had not received a bill since we switched over to the new updated system. If you are one of those residents and suddenly have received a huge water bill, the city is working with residents to work on a payment plan or whatever is necessary to get people where they need to be on that. I was told by city manager today that hopefully December's bills will be spot on and we're good to go from that point forward. Also, next Tuesday in the community room from 5 to 7, there will be an open house to solicit input from residents on updates to our comprehensive plan that guides our work in the city, essentially. Jim, you probably are familiar with the comprehensive plan. It was created in 2016, adopted by council in 2017, hasn't been updated since then, so we're going to incorporate some updates that came forward from our updates to Code Next and some other projects that have been approved by council. However, if anyone paid attention to our meeting on Tuesday night, there's a whole slew of state legislation that came through that's really trying to get at addressing the housing crisis and affordable housing within the state. There was very robust conversation at council about those pieces of legislation and whether we as a city comply or not. There, a lot of conversation around home rule versus, what can the state force us to do? Can they force anything? Are there any penalties associated? Some of those pieces of legislation very much could impact how we continue to develop in the city. So if that's an area that you have interest in, I would certainly appreciate having more residents show up to give feedback to staff so that when they come forward to us, we've just had a study session on it so far, but it'll come forward for a vote, and I'd love to have some resident input to city staff and what they bring forward to us for a final vote. And I think that's about it for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else from the commission?
A lot of the, earlier concerns related to some of these mock-ups of the different parks, are related to some of the things that city council has put forward in the strategic plan. And, obviously city staff has to listen to city council. Is there an opportunity, I feel like this is opening a can of worms that we don't want to do, but is there an opportunity to review that what seems like very new strategic plan and the scopes, because we're already talking about like scaling back the native plants. A lot of that was driven by the strategic plan and the pieces of that. The new council is now like, oh, we only want 4%. Rather than wasting a bunch of time, staff's time and city council's time, and creating a bunch of headaches, is there an opportunity to maybe discuss that with city council, to re-review what the priorities are, and specifically in terms of park? Again, I understand that opening up a previous document with a new council is a whole can of worms you may not want to do, but I'm worried that we're gonna keep running into these same things where we're designing based on what council wants and then turning around and having to go, oh, council actually, never mind, the new council doesn't want to do that anymore. And that, I mean, obviously that's a long-term project issue that's gonna go on forever with every city, but just trying to find a way to maybe prevent some of those issues moving forward as we're getting into a very important time of the bond and designing these parks. And then also, I want to thank everybody that came tonight. I've generally only ever seen like one person show up to these. And I know a lot of you were also involved in helping getting the bond passed and did a tremendous work with that, and I really appreciate that. It's going to do some great things for the city. And I would love an opportunity to hear you guys speak. So I'm definitely willing to stick around, even if like we can't keep quorum or something, but I want to hear you guys, your feedback on stuff.
Just in response to your question about interactions with council, I mean, there's always public comment. So that's your open forum. But each year in January, we have a retreat where we really dig into like an all-day retreat to look at the strategic plan. I would suggest, dialing into that and then, reaching out to council, whether it's emailing us, coming to public comment. I appreciate your concerns that a lot of time gets wasted, and, I think that sometimes we get caught up a little bit in a few handful of voices that are loud voices that come and make public comment. And so we're heading down a particular path and then we receive that public comment and, sometimes council shifts on where they want to sit on things based on a few voices. So the more that we can get a variety of voices to provide input, for me as a newer council member, that's much more helpful. So definitely plan on listening to or coming and attending that retreat. You can come and sit there and listen. It's got all of the city departments, and we really get down into a lot of detail during that retreat. That might be a good resource for you to start with.
Okay. Well, before we adjourn the meeting, given the quite unusual and large presence of the public here tonight, and in light of canceling December's meeting, I'd like to reopen public comment for 10 minutes, and then we'll adjourn at that time, and any other comments can take place after the meeting concludes. So public comment's officially open.
Mine is short, Jim. Do you mind if I just quickly? Okay.
Please, you're the chair.
I just wanted to tell you guys that my son is, I think most of you know this, my son has special needs, but then he also has autism, and he has used one of those slides, and he loves it. And we live on Bates Logan Park, so that's very cool. But the only places that I know of that have this equipment is Chautauqua, way up in Boulder, has that slide. And there is another park by like Stanley Marketplace in Aurora that recently opened that was kind of a big to-do in the special needs community because it was like the only one. So not to say that maybe I don't know about others, but I have to say, I think it is pretty cool. It makes me feel so proud to live here. And I think with also having brewability, right in town, I think we are really showing Colorado that we care about all of our citizens, and we really want to have spaces and restaurants and things available for all abilities, and it like literally brings me to tears. It just makes me so proud to live here. So thank you guys. I live on Bates Logan. I didn't even know this was happening. So I just am it's just like when I found out, I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever. So thanks guys. Thanks for, like Cody said, sometimes it's just like not, people want it, but it's not happening. I think it's really cool. And I'm done, Jim.
I think I'm up next. I have a few comments now, going into me. But first, feedback from the community, especially from the members of the community or the members of the committee that were out door knocking and stuff. People that have lived in Inglewood a long time and are older, like older than Dwayne and I.
Wow. That's a pretty lengthy bridge you just constructed there. We'll talk afterwards.
We heard things like, or members heard things like, and I heard it at the Malley Center, I don't use the parks anymore. And come back, I don't know. When I hear that, it pushes buttons for me. So, you know, did you ever go to public school? Who paid for that? You know? And then there's the younger people, which there's been a lot of younger people that have really moved into Inglewood literally since the pandemic. And they're young families and young couples that are going to have families. They are very positive regarding the bond. And it was, I know city manager had asked me, how do you feel about what are the, you know, is this going to pass or not? And I said, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if it passed by a lot or a little. And it wouldn't surprise me if it went down by a lot or a little. I have no read of it. And so it's real interesting. It was interesting to me to see that dynamic going on, because the old timers are proud of, they've lived here a long time. When you bang on somebody's door and they said, yeah, I've lived here 65 years. Okay, that means something, I think. And just some of the comments I saw on here, are we gonna still have movie nights?
Yes.
And those are still, that's being thought of and kind of planned into, okay, great. Yeah, I was looking at Emerson when I thought of that and thought, where's the screen gonna go up? And Bates Logan. Bates is easier to deal with. With Cushing, the amphitheater seating from the old days, is that gonna stay? Is something gonna happen with that to turn that into back to kind of an amphitheater, which is a community type thing that?
It's not in the current plan, but not saying that the budget allows, we could do something with that.
Okay. Do you know on the dog park at Cushing, the acreage?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It was actually, they were able to utilize more land than we thought, so it's much bigger than we anticipated.
Good.
Yeah, so that's why we can do two sections, a large and small dog.
Yeah, okay, good. Rotolo, I think I saw in a Rotolo drawing that there were trees down below. We can't have trees down below because of the floodplain and stuff, can we?
No, there's no trees in the actual detention.
Okay, good. Native plants. And hearing 4%, I think at one point we were at 10%.
It was up to 10% is what council directed, based on feedback through the surveys. That's why they shrunk it down to 4% for that particular park, not saying other parks may have 10%.
I think if council looked at it maybe a little differently and said, where should the native plants, the xeriscaping or whatever other term that isn't offensive to them, be planted? Is that around the edges? In flower beds, certain flower beds. Because I think, you know, and the committee had discussed this in our, I think our very first meeting about how people are reacting like, you know, they're thinking we're putting in cactus. And if the council was thinking of it a little differently as to where should it be in the park, where it isn't a hindrance, but it's serving a purpose, where there isn't grass up to a wire fence, where you're always trimming and, you know, buying string to get out of the fence.
2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
Total.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all I have. I don't need to say anything else.
Thank you.
I know Christina's number.
Any other public comments at this time?
I'll jump in briefly and thank the commission and staff for just the holistic approach, the universal accessibility. It's really great to see the stuff for kids of all ability levels. I'm really excited selfishly for the dog park going into Cushing. As someone who is dragging 2 rambunctious dogs around Cushing a lot, the dog park I think will be very welcome in that area. So thank you for the great work you're doing, and I'm excited to see it move forward.
Build on these positives when you hear the negatives.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with all businesses, Mike, go ahead.
Real brief, a suggestion. As you communicate and as these projects roll out, I think there's a lot of implicit thinking that is in the design and the process. To some extent, I think, no, it would help John Q. Public to know some of your general guiding principles. For example, I think one of your guiding principles is critical infrastructure is probably priority number 1. I'm just guessing that's what you think. I don't know that you say that. I think it would make people feel good if they knew that. I'm guessing another guiding principle might be use existing resources wherever possible. That's good. As you communicate, if you have those guiding principles, I think that would be very valuable to the community to understand. That's all.
That's good feedback, thank you.
Okay. All right, all business has been discussed and the meeting is adjourned at 6:45 p.m.